The icy wind howled across the abandoned city streets, carrying with it a smell of metal and smoke. A small figure huddled in the shadows, clutching a shivering child close to her chest, her eyes wide with fear and desperation, scanned the empty alleyways for any sign of warmth or safety. The child's tiny feet were purple from the cold and tears streaked her alien cheeks. She whispered, "Just one hot meal, please, just one." But her voice was swallowed by the freezing night. The woman's stomach growled, hollow and empty, reminding her that she had nothing to offer. Every building around them was dark, their windows shattered, doors hanging open as if abandoned in a hurry. She knew the stories of humans who passed through these ruins, some kind, some cruel, some indifferent. Her heart pounded as she remembered the warning signs carved into the walls, symbols of danger left by those who had gone before. Yet she had no choice. She had to find help. She had to save her daughter. Footsteps echoed in the distance, slow but deliberate, making her freeze. She held the child tighter, hoping the stranger would not notice them, hoping this night would pass without incident. A tall figure emerged from the fog, wearing a cloak that shimmered faintly under the broken lights. The stranger's eyes glowed with a strange color, not quite human, not quite alien, making her heart skip a beat. "Looking for something, or someone?" the stranger asked, voice calm but carrying a hidden edge. The woman stepped forward, swallowing her fear. "Please, my daughter. She's cold. We need food, warmth." The stranger tilted their head, studying her, their gaze piercing, as if they could see every secret and every lie. The child whimpered, her small hands reaching out to the stranger, hoping for mercy, hoping for kindness. The stranger crouched down, just enough to meet the child's gaze, and smiled faintly, a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. "I can give you warmth, but everything has a price," the stranger said, the words hanging in the air like a warning. The woman's mind raced, fear battling hope. "Anything, anything you want. Just please save my daughter." The stranger extended a gloved hand, a faint light emanating from it, warming the air around them. The child's purple feet slowly began to regain color, her shivers easing as the warmth touched her skin. Yet the woman knew this was only the beginning, that agreeing to the stranger's terms might change everything. She hesitated, but seeing her daughter smile faintly for the first time in days, she nodded. I'll do it. I'll be yours tonight." The stranger stood towering above them, their cloak shimmering brighter, a quiet laugh escaping their lips. "You have courage, human. That courage will take you far, or destroy you," they said, and turned away. The woman followed, holding her child tightly, every step echoing in the empty streets. Behind them, the shadows moved, whispering secrets of a city long dead, of beings long forgotten, and somewhere in the distance, a bell tolled, not for the living, but for the choices that were about to come. The woman followed the stranger through the narrow alleys, her heart pounding with each step. The child clung tightly to her neck, her small hands trembling but her eyes wide with curiosity and wonder. The stranger's cloak shimmered under the faint light of the broken city lamps, and the shadows seemed to bend around them. "Where are you taking us?" the woman asked, her voice low but firm. The stranger did not answer immediately, their pace steady, deliberate, as if the city itself had slowed to follow them. Finally, they stopped before a tall, ancient building, its walls covered in strange glowing symbols. The doorway opened with a hiss, revealing a warm interior, a rare sight in the frozen city. Inside, the smell of cooked food lingered faintly, mixing with the scent of machinery and dust. The child gasped, her tiny hands reaching for the warmth. "Here," the stranger said, gesturing to a small table with steaming dishes. "Eat, but remember your promise." The woman knelt beside her daughter, guiding her to the food. Every bite the child took seemed to bring color back to her cheeks, a glow replacing the purple of her cold feet. The woman watched silently, her own hunger gnawing at her. The stranger remained in the corner, their eyes glowing faintly, watching, always watching. I don't understand," the woman whispered after a while. "What do you want from me?" The stranger finally moved closer, their boots echoing against the metal floor. "You have agreed to be mine tonight. That is the bargain," they said, their voice calm but filled with weight. The woman's mind raced, fear and uncertainty battling against the relief she felt for her daughter. What does that mean?" she asked, her voice shaking. The stranger smiled faintly. "You will understand soon enough. All in due time." The child finished her meal, her eyes bright and alert. The woman felt a surge of relief and gratitude, but also a shiver of dread for what was to come. The stranger motioned for them to follow, and they walked deeper into the building. The walls were lined with strange technology, screens flickering with symbols she could not read. Machines hummed softly, their purpose unknown, and the air felt charged with energy. This place, it's not human, the woman murmured, her voice barely audible. No, the stranger agreed. It was built long before your kind arrived. By those who once ruled the stars, the woman's eyes widened. Rulers of what? The stranger's gaze held her, intense and unwavering. Of everything that lives and breathes in this city, and beyond. The child tugged at her mother's sleeve, sensing the tension in the air. Mama, is it safe? The woman knelt, holding her close. I think we are safe, for now. The stranger nodded. For now, they repeated, almost like a warning. They led the woman to a chamber at the back of the building. Its door enormous and metallic. Symbols glowed faintly on its surface, pulsing in rhythm with a sound she could feel more than hear. You will stay here until night falls, the stranger said. Then your true task begins. The woman glanced around the chamber, noting the warmth, the faint hum of machines. But the walls were lined with cages, empty yet ominous, shadows shifting as if alive. Her pulse quickened, fear rising again. Task? What task? The stranger did not answer immediately, simply turning to leave. Eat, rest, and remember why you are here. The child tugged at her hand again. Mama, I don't want you to go. The woman hugged her tight. I won't. We will stay together. I promise. Hours passed slowly, the room dimly lit by the soft glow of the walls. The child fell asleep against her mother, her small body finally warm and relaxed. The woman's mind, however, refused to rest. Turning over the stranger's words, the glowing symbols, the cages, what is this place? What do they want from me? She whispered to herself. Her fingers traced the patterns on the wall, trying to find meaning, any clue to what awaited her. A sudden sound made her start, a low hum turning into a soft vibration beneath her feet. The stranger returned, their presence filling the room, tall and silent. You are ready, they said. Their voice deeper now, commanding. The woman nodded, fear and determination mingling in her chest. She lifted her child gently, whispering, Stay here. I will come back to you. I swear it. The stranger extended their hand, the faint glow from their cloak illuminating the room. Tonight, everything will change, they said. The woman stepped forward, taking their hand, the warmth spreading through her body. The chamber doors opened, revealing the city beyond, dark and silent. And somewhere in the distance, the stars above flickered, as if watching the bargain unfold. The woman followed the stranger through the dark streets, the child sleeping safely in her arms. The city outside was silent, broken buildings casting long, jagged shadows under the pale starlight. Every step she took echoed, yet the silence was almost deafening, as if the city itself was holding its breath. The stranger walked ahead with purpose, their glowing eyes scanning every corner. She tried to remember her surroundings, the twisted metal and shattered glass, hoping to find a path back if she needed it. Finally, they arrived at a massive gate, taller than any building she had ever seen. The symbols carved into its surface seemed to pulse, reacting to the stranger's presence. The woman felt a shiver run down her spine, half fear, half awe. What is this place? She whispered, clutching the child closer. The stranger looked at her, their expression unreadable. It is where your resolve will be tested. The gate opened slowly, revealing a large chamber filled with shadows that moved independently of any light. The air was thick, almost tangible, carrying whispers she could not understand. The stranger stepped inside first, gesturing for her to follow. Her feet felt heavy, each step a struggle, as if the floor itself resisted her. The child stirred, murmuring in her sleep, and she held her tighter, whispering words of comfort. Your courage brought you here, the stranger said, their voice echoing strangely in the chamber. But courage alone is not enough. The shadows shifted, forming shapes of creatures she had never seen before, some humanoid, some alien, all with glowing eyes. They surrounded her, silent yet threatening, watching, waiting. The woman's heart raced, fear threatening to paralyze her. Yet she forced herself forward. You must face them, the stranger continued. Show them why you are here, why your daughter deserves warmth, life, and safety. The shadows advanced, forming walls, corridors, and sudden open spaces. Each step she took seemed to stretch endlessly. As if the chamber itself was bending time, she remembered her daughter's purple feet, the desperate plea for a hot meal. That memory gave her strength, and she whispered, "I will do anything for you." My child. Suddenly one shadow lunged forward, forming a humanoid shape with claws and teeth glowing faintly. The woman froze, fear rising like a tide. The stranger stepped close, their glowing eyes locking onto hers. "Do not fight with strength. Fight with heart," they instructed. She inhaled deeply, centering herself, and focused not on the shadow's form, but on her love for her daughter. Her arms moved instinctively, not to strike, but to create a barrier of warmth around her child. The shadow paused, its eyes flickering, then it dissipated into a mist one by one. The other shadows approached, each testing her, each seeking a crack in her resolve. A shadow that looked like a giant bird swooped down. Its wings cutting the air, she jumped, held the child close, and imagined a shield of light protecting them. The bird-like shadow screeched, then slowly receded, bowing as if acknowledging her courage. Another shadow appeared, smaller but faster, darting between her legs. Attempting to trip her, she stepped carefully, feeling the rhythm of the chamber, learning its movements. Each shadow she faced became less frightening, more like puzzles she had to solve. Not monsters to defeat. After what felt like hours, the shadows retreated, forming a circle around her. The stranger observed silently, their eyes glowing brighter, a faint smile on their lips. "You have passed the first test," they said, voice echoing. The woman exhaled, her knees weak, her body trembling. But she felt a spark of pride knowing she had survived, knowing she had protected her daughter without harming anyone. The shadows dissipated completely, leaving the chamber in silence. The stranger gestured toward a glowing doorway at the far end. "Step through. The next challenge awaits, and it will demand more than courage alone." The woman nodded, clutching the child tightly, her resolve solidifying. She realized the true test was not just the shadows, not the fear, but her willingness to risk everything for her daughter. The stranger turned, leading her toward the doorway, the glow reflecting off the broken city outside. And as they stepped into the light, the woman felt a mixture of hope and dread, knowing the real trial was just beginning. Behind them, the chamber collapsed slowly, shadows melting into nothingness. The child stirred, murmuring, "Mama, I'm warm now." The woman smiled faintly, kissing her forehead. "Yes, my love. And I will keep you safe no matter what comes next." The stranger's voice followed them, calm and haunting. "Remember, heart and courage will guide you, but the choices you make tonight will echo far beyond this city." And as the doorway closed behind them, the woman understood that their journey had only just begun. The test of shadows had ended, but the true trial, the bargain that had drawn them here, was waiting just beyond the next light. The doorway closed behind them with a faint hum, sealing them in a long, narrow corridor. The walls shimmered with an otherworldly light, casting strange patterns that shifted like living beings. The child slept peacefully in her mother's arms, unaware of the dangers that lay ahead. The woman's mind raced, trying to understand the stranger, the city, and the test she had just survived. Every instinct screamed that something was coming, something far worse than the shadows. The stranger walked silently ahead, their cloak brushing against the glowing floor. "You must choose wisely at every turn," they said, their voice echoing, calm yet ominous. "Every path has consequences, and not all are visible." The woman nodded, her heart pounding. "I understand. I will do my best." The stranger's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, as if acknowledging her determination. The corridor twisted and turned, its length seeming endless. At each junction, glowing doors appeared, each marked with a strange symbol, some resembling stars, others unknown shapes. The woman paused before the first door, studying its markings. A cold wind blew from beneath it, carrying faint whispers that made her shiver. "Which way?" the stranger asked, stepping back, giving her the choice. Her hands trembled as she reached out, feeling a warmth coming from one door. Something deep inside guided her, a sense that this choice was right. She opened the door slowly, revealing a chamber filled with pools of liquid that shimmered like liquid glass. Reflections swirled on the surface, showing not just her face but fleeting images of distant worlds, alien skies and unknown civilizations. The child stirred but did not wake. Sensing the calm in her mother's arms, a soft voice echoed from the liquid. "Only the worthy may pass." The woman stepped forward cautiously, her reflection shifting, forming multiple versions of herself. Each reflection seemed to challenge her, questioning her motives, her courage, her love for her child. She took a deep breath, focusing on her purpose. I am here for my daughter. Nothing else matters. The reflections paused, then dissolved, leaving the liquid still and clear. The stranger nodded. Courage guided you. But now comes wisdom. Ahead, a bridge appeared, suspended over a bottomless void, its surface glowing faintly. The woman could hear whispers from below, voices tempting her with promises, some of warmth, some of power, some of safety. She hesitated, fear creeping in, the child stirring slightly. Sensing the tension, she whispered to the child, "Stay close, hold on. We can do this." Step by step, she crossed the bridge, focusing only on the glowing path beneath her feet. The whispers grew louder, trying to distract her, sowing doubt in her mind. You will fail. You cannot protect her. Turn back, it is easier. But she ignored them, remembering the child's frozen feet, the desperation in her eyes, the promise she had made. Each step strengthened her resolve, and the whispers began to fade. Powerless against her determination, halfway across, a shadow leapt from the darkness, humanoid but with limbs too long, its eyes bright and menacing. The woman froze, the child clinging to her neck, heart hammering. The stranger appeared beside her, their hand glowing faintly. Do not fear what tests you. Act with purpose, not reaction. She closed her eyes briefly, drew strength from her love, and extended her free hand toward the shadow. A wave of warmth and light flowed from her, encasing both herself and the child. The shadow hissed, its form flickering, then bowed and disappeared. Reaching the other side, she exhaled, trembling, yet stronger than before. The corridor ended in a circular chamber, walls lined with glowing glyphs. Pulsing softly, the stranger turned to her, their eyes studying her face. You have faced fear, temptation, and doubt. But now comes choice. On the floor, 3 glowing stones appeared, each with a symbol different from the doors she had seen. Choose one, the stranger said. Your choice will shape not only your fate, but the fate of your daughter. The woman knelt, examining each stone. The first glowed with warmth, promising safety but uncertainty. The second pulsed with power, offering strength but at a hidden cost. The third shimmered faintly, almost invisible, promising freedom but requiring sacrifice. Her mind whirled, fear and hope clashing, every instinct screaming for the safe choice. But she looked at her sleeping child and whispered, I will choose the path that keeps you alive, even if it costs me everything. With trembling hands, she reached for the third stone. The moment she touched it, the chamber shuddered, light exploding around her. Symbols and glyphs danced on the walls, forming images of worlds, stars, and lives she had never known. The stranger watched silently, their smile faint but approving. The child stirred, sensing warmth and safety, her tiny hands clinging tighter to her mother. The woman felt a surge of power, hope, and fear all at once, knowing that the true test was far from over. The light from the glowing stone faded slowly, leaving the woman and her daughter in a dimly lit hallway. The walls around them were lined with mirrors, each reflecting not just their images, but echoes of other lives, other choices, and other worlds. Every step they took seemed to ripple through the reflections, distorting them, twisting them into unfamiliar shapes. The child clung to her mother, her small hands trembling but her trust unwavering. The woman whispered softly, We have come this far. We cannot turn back now. The stranger walked beside them, silent and imposing, their eyes glowing faintly in the shadows. You have chosen the path of sacrifice and freedom, they said, voice low and commanding. Now you will understand what it truly means to hold the life of another above your own. The woman's heart tightened, fear and determination mingling in her chest. She squeezed her daughter's small hand, whispering, I will do anything. Nothing will harm you while I am here. The hallway stretched endlessly, the mirrors reflecting infinite possibilities. Whispers filled the air, some comforting, some taunting, some warning. You cannot save her. You will fail. The choice was wrong. She shook her head, focusing on the warmth of the child in her arms. Stay with me, she whispered. We face this together. Suddenly, one of the mirrors rippled, forming a doorway, black and deep. A cold wind escaped from it, carrying the scent of metal and smoke. The stranger gestured, Enter. Only through courage will you pass. The woman hesitated, glancing at the child. It's all right, my love. I will protect you. The child nodded slightly, trusting her mother completely. Taking a deep breath, the woman stepped through the mirror, feeling the world bend and shift around her. They emerged into a vast chamber, the ceiling lost in darkness, the floor glowing with a faint, pulsating light. Figures moved in the shadows, humanoid but distorted, their eyes bright with intelligence and malice. Each figure mirrored a fear the woman had faced before. Magnified and amplified, they whispered promises and threats, trying to sway her mind. "You cannot protect her. Surrender. It is easier," they hissed, voices overlapping, echoing endlessly. The woman's pulse quickened, but she stood tall, holding the child tightly. "Leave us alone!" she shouted, her voice carrying over the whispers. The shadows hesitated, then surged forward, faster than she could move. Instinct took over. She spread her arms wide, imagining a shield of warmth and light around her daughter. The shadows collided with it, hissing and screeching, but unable to penetrate. One by one, the figures retreated, unable to overcome the strength of a mother's love. The stranger stepped forward, raising a hand, and the whispers ceased instantly. "You have done well," they said, voice echoing in the vast chamber. "But the trial is not over." The woman's legs trembled, exhaustion washing over her. "I will do whatever is needed," she replied, her voice steady despite her fear. The child stirred, sensing the calm, and smiled faintly in her sleep, giving her mother a spark of courage. A pedestal rose from the center of the chamber, glowing with a bright white light. On it lay an object small enough for the child to hold, yet glowing with immense energy. The stranger spoke. "That object is the key to your next challenge, and your bond will determine its power." The woman knelt, placing her hand above the object, feeling warmth and energy coursing through her. The child's fingers brushed it as well, and the glow intensified, surrounding them both in a cocoon of light. Visions of past, present, and possible futures swirled around them, showing dangers, victories, and choices yet to come. A deep rumble shook the chamber, and the shadows reformed, larger and more terrifying. "This is your final test in this hall," the stranger said, stepping back, their eyes fixed on her. The woman tightened her grip on her daughter, whispering, "We face it together. Nothing will stop us." The shadows surged forward again, faster and more aggressive, but this time she did not act alone. The child's presence added strength, warmth, and focus. Their combined courage and love formed a barrier stronger than before. Pushing the shadows back, each strike and movement of the shadows seemed to falter, unable to break the bond between mother and child. Finally, the chamber fell silent, the shadows dissolving into mist, leaving the pedestal glowing brightly. The stranger approached, their eyes softening for the first time. "You have survived the Hall of Echoes." The woman lowered her daughter gently, feeling relief mixed with exhaustion. The child opened her eyes, looking up at her mother with trust and wonder. "You did it, Mama," she whispered. The woman smiled faintly, kissing the child's forehead. "Yes, my love. We did it together." The stranger stepped back, their cloaks shimmering in the soft glow. "Prepare yourself. The next path will demand more than courage, love, or strength. It will demand choices that may change everything." The woman nodded, holding her daughter tightly, knowing that no matter what came next, they would face it together. And as they left the chamber, the light from the pedestal fading behind them, she felt both fear and hope, for the journey was far from over. But her heart burned brighter than ever before, ready for the challenges that awaited. The corridor ahead was darker than anything they had faced before. Walls pulsed with a faint red glow, as if the building itself were alive and aware of their presence. The woman clutched her daughter tightly, feeling the child's small heartbeat against her chest. Each step echoed like a drumbeat of warning, yet she moved forward, determined. The stranger walked beside her, silent but watchful, their eyes glimmering in the red light. A low hum vibrated through the floor, growing louder with every step. Shapes moved in the shadows, but this time, they were not reflections, not tests. They were real, creatures with elongated limbs, glowing eyes, and whispers that promised pain and despair. The woman's stomach churned, fear threatening to overwhelm her. But she remembered the warmth of her daughter, the promise she had made, and the courage that had brought them this far. Suddenly, the corridor split into 3 paths, each bathed in a different hue of light. The first path glowed faint blue, calm and inviting, but silent screams echoed faintly from it. The second shone with fiery orange, bright and powerful. yet the ground seemed to shift beneath her feet. The third was black, almost invisible, but the warmth of her daughter's presence seemed to call her toward it. The stranger turned to her. "Your heart will guide you. But beware, each choice carries sacrifice." She looked at the child, her tiny face trusting and innocent. I will choose the path that keeps her safe no matter what it costs me," she whispered. Without hesitation, she stepped onto the black path, feeling the corridor shift and pulse around her. The stranger nodded silently, their eyes glowing faintly in approval. The walls closed slightly behind them, and the hum grew into a low roar, as if warning them of what was to come. Shadows emerged from the darkness, swirling around them, their forms terrifying and ever-changing. The woman lifted her arms instinctively, focusing all her energy on protecting the child. A soft glow spread from her hands, forming a protective cocoon. The shadows lashed out, striking the barrier. But each impact only made the light stronger. The child stirred, sensing the energy, and extended her tiny hands, adding her warmth to the shield. A figure appeared at the center of the path, tall and imposing, its eyes glowing with power. It spoke without moving its lips. "You cannot protect her forever. The heart is fragile. The choice is yours," the woman's mind raced, fear battling determination. "You will not touch her," she shouted. Voice trembling but fierce, the figure tilted its head, its gaze probing, trying to find doubt, fear, or weakness. She took a deep breath, centering herself. "I do not fight for myself. I fight for her, and that is stronger than any fear." The figure's form flickered, testing her, and the corridor around them shifted violently. The floor seemed to dissolve beneath their feet, replaced by void, endless and dark. The woman held the child close, whispering, "Do not be afraid. Mama is here, always." The glow from her hands expanded, illuminating the void, forming a path beneath their feet. The figure hissed, the air vibrating with power, but could not penetrate the combined strength of love and courage. Step by step they moved forward, the path solidifying beneath them. The shadows continued to lash at the barrier, but the cocoon held strong. The child's eyes opened slightly, gazing at her mother with trust, and the mother felt an unbreakable bond. Finally, the figure recoiled, dissolving into mist, and the corridor straightened. The red glow faded, replaced by a soft golden light. Warm and comforting, the stranger finally spoke, voice calm and approving. "You have passed the trial of the heart. Few endure this test, and fewer survive with their humanity intact." The woman exhaled, relief and exhaustion washing over her. She lowered her arms slightly, still holding the child close. The child whispered, "Mama, we did it. We're safe now." The woman smiled faintly, kissing her forehead. "Yes, my love. We are safe. For now." Ahead, a massive door appeared, shimmering with a combination of every color they had seen. The stranger gestured toward it. "Beyond this door lies the final challenge, your ultimate choice, the one that will determine your fate and hers." The woman looked at her daughter, her small face illuminated by the golden light. "I will face it, whatever it is. I will protect you," she said. Voice strong and unwavering, the stranger stepped aside, allowing them to move forward, their eyes glowing softly, and as the door opened, a blinding light filled the corridor, signaling the start of the final trial. The woman inhaled deeply, holding the child tightly, ready for anything. She knew the choices ahead would be harder than any shadows, any whispers, any fear. But she also knew the bond between them was stronger than the darkness itself. And as they stepped into the light, she felt a surge of hope, courage, and determination. For the final challenge had begun, and she would not fail her daughter, no matter the cost. The blinding light faded slowly, revealing a vast chamber unlike anything the woman had seen before. The walls shimmered with energy, shifting colors like the pulse of distant stars. The floor beneath them glowed faintly, reflecting the child's wide, curious eyes. The stranger stepped aside, their expression unreadable, yet their presence commanded attention. "This is the final trial," they said, voice calm but heavy with meaning. "The choice you make here will decide not just your fate, but hers, and the fate of everything connected to this place." The woman's heart pounded, fear and determination clashing inside her. The child stirred in her arms, looking up with trust, as if sensing the weight of the moment. She whispered softly, "I will not fail you, no matter what." The stranger nodded. Stepping back into the shadows from the far end of the chamber, 3 doors emerged, each glowing differently. The first shone with pure white light, promising safety but unknown cost. The second glowed a deep golden orange, radiating power and influence. The third flickered faintly, almost invisible, calling quietly, promising freedom but demanding sacrifice. The woman knelt, holding her daughter. Considering each choice carefully, her mind raced, calculating what would keep her child alive and safe. Her heart pulled toward the invisible door, the one that whispered of freedom. Freedom. But at what cost? She whispered, hugging her daughter tightly. The child's small hands brushed hers, almost as if encouraging her choice. With a deep breath, she stepped toward the third door, the faintest glow welcoming her courage. As she approached, the chamber trembled, the walls alive with shifting energy. Shadows surged forward from the other doors, testing her resolve. The white door emitted a soothing voice. Choose me. Safety without struggle, the golden door boomed. Power and control. Take it and all will bend to your will. But the woman shook her head, whispering, No, my child's life is my power. Nothing else matters. She reached for the black, invisible door, feeling warmth emanate from it. The shadows lashed out, trying to pull her back, but the bond with her child held them steady. Stepping through, the world shifted violently, colors and shapes blurring. She held her daughter close, whispering, Stay with me. We are together, always. The light around them condensed into a tunnel of energy, carrying them across time and space. Visions flashed before her eyes, the frozen streets, the shadows, the hall of echoes, the trial of the heart. Every challenge they had faced appeared, reminding her of the courage, love, and sacrifice that had brought them here. The tunnel ended abruptly, depositing them on solid ground, a city of warmth and light stretching endlessly. The child looked around, eyes wide with wonder. Mama, it's beautiful. The woman smiled, relief flooding her heart. Yes, we made it. Together. The stranger appeared behind them, their glow now softer, more human-like. You have chosen wisely, they said, their voice gentle, almost proud. Many would have chosen power or safety. Few choose the path that truly protects life. The woman held her daughter tightly. I only care for her. Nothing else matters. The stranger nodded, fading slowly into the light. Leaving them alone, the city pulsed with life, alien but beautiful, filled with beings moving in harmony. The woman realized that this place existed beyond fear, beyond greed, beyond the shadows they had faced. It was a city built for those who endured, who loved, who made sacrifices for others. The child ran ahead, laughing softly, exploring the warm streets. Free from the cold and shadows of the past, the woman followed, feeling hope and determination in every step. She knew they were not just survivors. They were chosen, a family bound by courage and love. Suddenly, a small figure approached them, glowing faintly, its eyes curious and friendly. It handed the woman a small object, a token of passage and proof of her trial. This is yours, it said without words. Yet she understood. It is the strength of your heart, the bond you share. Nothing can break it. She hugged her daughter again, feeling the warmth of the city, the glow of life around them. Tears streamed down her face, not from fear or pain, but from relief, pride, and overwhelming love. The stranger's voice echoed one last time, faint and distant. Remember, the choices we make echo through the stars. Yours has saved more than one life. The woman looked at her daughter, small, alive, and warm. She whispered softly, We will face anything. Together. Always. The child giggled, hugging her mother tightly. I love you, Mama. The woman smiled, holding her close. And I love you, more than anything. The light of the city enveloped them, safe, free, and ready for the future. And so their journey ended, not with fear, not with shadows, but with courage, love, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. The trials they faced had tested everything, yet they survived stronger than before. For in the end, it was not power nor safety nor wealth that mattered. It was the love that guided their hearts, the courage that carried them forward, and the promise that no matter the darkness, no matter the trials, they would always face it together.